Now, 3 months ago, 14-year-old Ayden Olsen was found dead, apparently having taken his own life. His mother blames the bullying he suffered at school, some of which was homophobic and racist. Shai Keenan accuses the authorities of doing little to help and says what's needed is a new anti-bullying law, Ayden's Law, which would make it a criminal offence. Our health and social care correspondent Victoria MacDonald has been to meet her, and just to warn you, you may find some details in this report distressing.
He loved music. He was a stunning songwriter and a beautiful singer, and he was funny. God, he'd have us in stitches. He was so funny.
Indeed, you can see it in the photos around the house, a happy, smiling, cheeky boy. But in March this year, Ayden Olsen was found lying dead in his bed. He was just 14 years old and he'd taken his own life. Ayden's mother, Shai Keenan, is a well-known campaigner and advocate for victims of child abuse, having been abused herself. She is used to fighting authorities. But what pains her so much now is that she could not protect her son against being bullied at school.
I couldn't stop what was going on there. I couldn't control it. I couldn't influence it. It seems I couldn't do anything.
This interview was recorded shortly after Ayden died. Even in her grief, Ms. Keenan knew that to make sense of her son's death, something would need to change.
But I don't want him to be remembered for killing himself. It's just a dumb, stupid mistake. By a kid who just didn't understand forever. They don't get forever. I'm 50 and I still can't understand forever. But I know it's longer than 14 years.
Ayden was a pupil at this school, Philip Morant in Colchester, Essex. He repeatedly complained about being bullied. Ms. Keenan believes the school did little to stop it happening, although they did give him report slips to write down the bullies' names. And then the bullying escalated after he discussed being gay and liking another boy. Now the attacks became homophobic and racist. They called him gay, Asian, ugly. They pinned him to the ground and threw flour at his crotch. In November, Ayden tried to kill himself, and for a time the bullying did ease off. But in the 3-page note written before his death, he says, "I feel sorry for all those who have bullied me." We have asked the school for an interview because there are still a number of questions that need to be answered. Are they satisfied, for instance, with the way they handled Shai and Ayden's first complaints about the bullying? Do they wish in retrospect that they'd done things differently? And most importantly, has anything changed? They refused to give us an interview. Instead, a statement came from a law firm, beginning with a potted history of the school and taking till the 4th paragraph to mention Ayden. A second statement from a public relations company said, "As the tragic loss of Ayden Olsen remains the subject of an ongoing police investigation, it's obviously difficult for us to comment in any great detail at this stage." It says, "It was with great shock and sadness that we learned of Ayden's death, and our thoughts are with his family and everyone who has been affected by his loss." Yet there is a palpable sense of frustration, because before Ayden died, Miss Keenan had asked the authorities for help. None came. Yet in the weeks after his death, they finally all turned up. Social services, the police, the local MP. 2 months after Ayden's death, we returned to see Shai Keenan. There are still questions to be answered, but now she knows what she wants to do. Ayden's Law, anti-bullying legislation.
They gave him orange cards to say, just report it more. And he was saying, every time I tell you and you tell them off, they come back and beat me up. Can you not try something else that actually stops it? No. That teacher actually said to my son's face, there's nothing we can do to help you about the gay bullying.
Ms. Keenan makes the point that if someone is abused like this in the community, it's a crime, but not if it happens in a school.
Don't downplay a crime. They were calling my boy Asian ugly, gay ugly. And according to the law in the rest of the country, it's against the law. Not an issue of bullying or something that just needs to be taken lightly. It's apparently against the law, but the minute you step inside a school, that somehow changes. And that has to stop.
So Ayden's law would make bullying and intimidation a criminal offence, increase bullying prevention outside the school grounds, and make it a statutory requirement for the government to publish an annual anti-bullying strategy. Ms. Keenan has been working closely with the charity Beat Bullying.
Bullying is a serious issue. It is the most common issue and problem faced by children as they grow up. It's the biggest concern, often quoted as the biggest concern for parents for their children as they grow up. And we know that 44% of child suicides are related to bullying, so it is a serious problem. It should be viewed as unacceptable in all its forms, and Ayden's law is designed to take this forward to give victims protection from bullying, but also change the culture and change the way in which we are dealing with it as a society.
All schools must have a bullying policy. Philip Morant certainly does. And how bullying is dealt with is included in the Ofsted inspections. But there are concerns that some schools, fearful of affecting their ratings, are not properly recording all cases. Yet it is a somewhat controversial step to suggest criminalising children.
Ayden's law is not to criminalise children. It's to do everything you can, to force these schools to do everything they possibly can before they bring it to a matter for the courts and for the criminal police force. There are times when some children's behaviour needs to be dealt with by the police.
Do you have a feeling for why Ayden just felt he couldn't cope with it anymore?
I think that he felt that if his mother couldn't help him, no one could.
I don't think that can be.
He saw me as his champion, and he saw them pushing me around and not helping and not listening, and I think he just felt completely unempowered, and like if mum can't help, then no one can.
Nobody takes their life for one reason alone, and there will be an inquest into Ayden's death. Yet the bullying is the focus of his mother's attention and anger and pain, because it happened over and over, and nothing seemed to stop it.